from you from Burning Man. Oh, the broadcast is now live, but we started. Aloha world, aloha ohana. Jonah Martin Lyon live here at Burning Man 2023. We're here at this Hope for Maui right now live stream. It's a sharing of kind of just to bring into what's happening now. I'm here at Burning Man after going through and being there on the ground levels in Maui during the fires and coordinating a lot of our Aloha response teams. We call it ARC. So it makes sense to be here at Burning Man right now with all of the artists, which are going to be coming through right now in time to share their stories. And tonight we have a wonderful prayer to align with coming from some of our elders, our kahuna, to bring in the beautiful prayer here in this time. And so that's going to be at 9 o'clock. So, those of you watching now can join us 9 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And just bringing all of that beautiful aloha spirit and unification and peace and sharing this breath, this presence, this existence. You're all here together. We're alive. And this fire and these things, the transformation happening. And so being out here is a time for us to network. This is why I came out here, is to network with some of the most innovative and creative minds. Actually sitting here in the camp of Pathogenesis camp, which is really a focus point of transmuting a lot of the different kind of cultures that are no longer serving us, and pieces around that. And really what we've learned throughout this time here as well, as the pathogen finders and COVID, and what did we find out about ourselves, about our collective, about humanity, about this planet during that. And now we're in this almost state of complete urgency in response to what's happening globally, but also really to focus in on what's happening locally on Maui. Those of you that followed in this, there's basically this bear comes in, perfect timing right here. Yes, I'm here. My brother Bear just came in. Jackson,
Bear Dreamer Coach Camp. I am Washo Miwok Paiute, a quarter Mexican and a dash of Irish, and an enrolled member of the Pyramid Lake Paiute tribe of Nevada.
All right. And so we all basically this brethren's family's ancestors' land here. This land is very sacred, and that's something where we were feeling like we really want to come in and open up this Playa podcast and share what's currently happening here on the aspect of re-indigenizing technology, right? How do we right?
So I'd say in memorial of my bro Myron Dewey, we're sending digital smoke signals out.
Yes, digital smoke signals, right? Yeah, it's to think about how all of these ways of bringing indigenous practices, of ways of remembering, we're literally living inside of the quarters of we call a weekend warrior. And warrior for me is this acronym of we are radically remembering initiations of reverence. This rainbow warrior prophecy that we're experiencing this, the transition team, the art, those of here that came here, this time to really be in the space of seeing it, of witnessing the magic, and then to bring that into our reality right now. So, how can we dream and engineer from a space of indigenous wisdom and rebuild? Hope for Maui, housing our people everywhere, right? That's hope. This is humans on planet Earth, right? We're all together, we're all family, we're all ohana, So when we are in that space and looking at indigenous as all people with such a radically inclusive view, perspective, right? The logo in the house too, right here. But we're doing a podcast, man. So anytime words, just live streaming, and so that's people come in and join and share this. just to bring context, always, this is a fundraising concert event series, sharing story, talking story, bringing the notion of housing or a home, honoring our Mother Earth and to ourselves, and then how does that look from the internal and the external? Yeah, and so we have all the physical resources right now here, materials needed to build sustainably, regeneratively, and now we need the internal architecture to support that. And this is what this is about, brotherhood, sisterhood, ohana, family.
From all nations and all colors and all tribes,
Mm.
like the colors of the medicine wheel.
Mm.
And so, why don't you educate us on contemporary indigenous events, like what's going on over in Maui? I have, white friends who live over there, like Richard McFarland.
Mm.
So, what's going on over there with the indigenous people and the fires and everything like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, educate us.
Yeah, that's a great question, right?
Because it's great that people outside of a tiny, I think we're less than 1% of the United States population. And it's great to know that people like right away and educate themselves on contemporary issues in indigenous country. Mm. So educate us on what's going on over there.
Yeah. Dude, beautiful set, man. Like, what I'm seeing in this fire is there's been a lokahi or a unity together and working together in harmony between what we would call or would be called haulis. Yeah, which is like, people who have migrated and landed and live there now, but not necessarily native people of Hawaii, right? Which are the Kanaka Maoli. And so both cultures, if you will, both peoples lived in symbiosis in Lahaina, which is where most of this tragedy and the fires happened, in all their homes, and so they're all experienced this at the same time. You had, very wealthy millionaire, billionaire people who lived in that area, and then people that have been there for their entire lives and like they're generational, and have been holding that, and so they're all in the same place right now, and it's brought this level of togetherness and remembering that aspect, and no longer having this sense of like separation, that was there before. And I think that's the most powerful things that I've noticed in that, is that aloha spirit. Yeah, that's like that sharing of breath and presence that is what is unifying in everyone, and it's international.
I think what you're touching on is I think that, well, I would say that I know that indigenous people have the difference is I think our language is kind of being twisted a little bit, and I think that indigenous people, they have a relationship with their homelands rather than other people. They have dominion over them, and then you're talking about the doctrine of discovery, which says that any Christian nation that discovers a non-Christian nation has dominion over them, and then you have that same domineering language going over it and everything, rather than having a love and respect with the land. And through assimilation, through the boarding schools, kids weren't allowed to speak their native tongues. Their mouths were washed out with soap, or they were beaten, or even worse. They're finding graves of Indian children at all these boarding schools. I graduated from high school Indian Nations, my bachelor's in American Studies in 2010, and I tailored it like that, and like all the gangster shit for like all like the weed and the casinos, because that all kind of falls under the umbrella of the American Indian Religious Freedoms Act. So yeah, I mean, it's like a big ball of wax. It's like you're gonna tear one little piece off, and then we're supposed to have the Indian lawyer coming over here right now, that we were talking to, and I'm gonna go see if I can drag him down right now.
Yeah.
So I'll be back.
All right. Yeah, this is how it is over here right now. I mean, one of the initiatives that we're bringing forth here in our camp is one about Maui, and two, there's quite a bit of a lithium mining initiative happening over here on a very sacred part of this land that we're on here, Burning Man, and it's Black Rock, Sacred Playa. This it's a special place, and it has amazing wells and natural springs and water, even though it's desert. This was a prehistoric lake bed, so there's water all around here. And when we start mining, we start to affect our watershed and our ecosystems, and especially for mining for something like that. So conversations that we can have out here, for instance, this conversation goes in that arena. Hey Ben, aloha. Yeah, welcome. Hi. Yeah, welcome. Come on in. Pleasure.
Look at you.
Hey.
This is
awesome.
The private lounge.
Yeah.
Introduce yourself.
Yeah, come on in.
You're on live camera.
We're on live stream.
You're live streaming?
We're live
Oh,
streaming right
come on,
now.
man.
Right, so,
You're living the life.
But come on in. Introduce yourself.
Hey,
There
guys.
you
At Burning Man, Plaza named Crow, having fun. With me is my better half over here.
go. Yes.
So tell them what you do. We're talking about indigenous.
Oh, we talking about indigenous tonight?
Yeah.
Well, I'm tribal. Family's all been tribal. And so I've been working with tribal law since way back. So I do, way back. So I'm all into
How many years did you say?
native rights.
30 years.
Yeah, I got 30 years as a tribal lawyer.
Nice. Beautiful.
A long time. So I'll go all the way back to the original treaties with the government and to help people who have problems now. We look back to what was done with the tribe in the treaties, because under that they had to sign a trust with future generations. And when they breach it, I can go back to the government under original tribal law, right? Now the government supports the youngsters today under that stuff.
Right. Wow.
So it's cool. I worked on the Black Hills under Obama to get it back to the tribe, working with Miccosukes on the land trust. So I was talking to my brother here about that today and his stuff.
Yeah.
So it's good. I believe in it because we are the undersung population. They talk about minorities. No one's seen the third world poverty we have on our own reservation systems.
Right.
You couldn't believe it because tribes don't get anything from the government at all. No medicine, no water, no sewer, no school, nothing. Nothing. And here you are stuck. And you're not a citizen unless you choose to be, but when you become a citizen, then they tax you. You lose all the breaks of being a native. Right. It's a screwed up.
So the roads are sunk.
Oh, they meant it. They built it this way. And the world doesn't know as much as they talk about stuff. I'm all in stuff, because this is our culture in this country. And to talk about all this other stuff, no one's ever really sat down and looked. Even Rosebud, with all the stuff it's got in the news going back. Go on Rosebud today and look at it, Pine Ridge. These are the well-known ones. People don't know about the tribes out there. We have 608 recognized tribes out here in America now. 608 different. And underneath those, you have all the clans. Poverty, like you can't believe. It's horrible. It'll make you cry to go on. No medical care. Bad stuff. So I'm trying to help with that.
So we touched base a little bit on the American Indian Religious
Would you like to
Freedoms
sit down?
Act. So we touched a little bit on the American Indian Religious Freedoms Act.
Yeah.
Could you kind of explain to that to us?
Well, you're probably smarter than I am with that one. But what it goes back to is the tribes and tribal religions were here prior to Christianity. And so when you go back and look at how it all evolved, it's all really at some point the same thing based on your cultural perspective. And so as religion, we're protected with our tribal religions, which goes into our values, our life. Because under tribal law and raising, no matter what tribe, you believe Mother Earth. We all came from the same place. We're all the same part of the same energies out there. And that is our religion, it's also our life. We're protected under things. Also, not just because you have a treaty, but because you have the freedom of religion to practice these things. A lot of it's akin to Buddhism in some ways, the relationship we have to nature and the connectedness between everything. And people don't realize the power that brings you if you have to stand up for it. You got to stand up and ask. No one's ever going to bring out the Native American Freedoms Act unless you go look for it. It's part of the problem, as he's talking about plan, because Who's going to educate you? You're on a reservation, you don't get scholarships.
Yeah.
How do you ever know? We don't have the advocates that other groups have.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
There's a few out there in the tribal land, but there are right now today political prisoners being held for life from tribal beliefs. No violent crimes. Because they stood up for their belief that what the U.S. government's doing has violated their rights as a sovereign people. They're being held. No trial, nothing. Learn Pelletier. There's a bunch.
So
out there.
we're considering. So then we're getting into the domestic dependent nation aspect of it, rather than being a sovereign. We're looked at. When it's written in our laws, right? We're looked at as a guardian toward asking the United States for. Can we have assistance in the form of government grants created on the wealth of our natural resources?
Yeah, and that's what they're doing. They're making you sell your land and your rights. I mean, uranium out west, there is no money. The government comes in and lets you mine, brings in the companies, and they'll take care of you if you do this.
Yeah.
And you're put in this position where you have no choice. But now the government's starting to tie tribes with their original land grants, if you want to call them, as an occupied people, to tribal enrollment. Now they started tying it to blood. I don't get it.
Blood quantum.
Yeah.
So we're
You know about blood quantum.
So what blood quantum is you're actually cutting out your own family. So
Like my grandmother is white, it's the only one in my family. But now I'm not considered pure blood because my grandmother was white. And so under
tainted meat,
man. But yeah, under the laws now the government's saying that some of the tribes, is what we're talking about. Some of these people call tribes aren't really tribes, they're nations.
Right.
So it's a government structure looking over all these individual clans and different tribes underneath them, right? So they cut down the blood, say, well, you can't have any of this stuff because you don't have this much percentage of blood. They don't care where you were raised. They don't care what your religious beliefs are. They don't care, whether or not you speak the language. It's all by draw the freaking blood.
Yeah.
Where do we do that anywhere in the world with any other population of people?
Exactly.
None. There's not another population out there we do. Not a damn thing. And we're an occupied people still in this country.
Yeah.
It's the natives.
Amen. Yeah.
I get fired up for that, sorry.
No,
Actually, he holds it together pretty well.
Well, and this is beautiful because how fired up you're about it. It's so needed right now, and that's what's happening on Maui and Hawaii right now, right? Is that the native people are fired up, but also everyone is, because everyone is coming in this realization, and this my perspective of the realization of what we're talking about, or their indigenous roots, right? They're indigenous roots, no matter where they're from, right? Or roots.
Well, I say people don't understand when we're talking Native Americans, Maui, and the native tribes. They're tribes. They're indigenous people. And every country in the world has indigenous peoples.
Yeah.
We're just talking about because we're sitting in this country.
Right.
But the Hawaiians are just like anyone else. And they're still squeezing them out of their culture, their properties. You start looking at the government responses.
Right.
How do you explain the government response to this when you don't see it over here?
Yeah.
That just, to me, it's there's lots of stuff you can get into how that's happened. Look at COVID on reservations. What this country did for COVID on reservations. You'll be amazed.
Yeah. Well, did you hear about the Maui, the $700, offering? Yeah. It's like, we're on. You can come in if you want. Just know we're on a live stream podcast right now. Yeah, we're right in your world, right?
Yeah,
we're talking about an indigenous conversation.
And here we are.
Here you are.
Right? indigenous rights and law.
I even got our token here.
Oh,
So
we said law. We meant like road access pass, okay?
Yeah, man. All right, so it's up there now. So it's not gonna work, but I don't know if we can sit down now, right?
No, I'm just playing with Dave. It doesn't have anything to do with. That's our whole point. A lot of this, it doesn't have anything to do with your genetics. It has to do with your beliefs, your philosophy, your culture, your heritage, your religion. And that's what we're talking about. Native American religious acts out there we know about.
So we were talking with Gino the other night. Have you met him yet? Yeah, so we were talking about, I go, well, I get to spend up here on the reservation because I look like a white boy. Because I grew up around white people, and they call me an apple, right on the outside, right on the inside. And then Gino goes, well, they call me, because I got it even worse. They call me a banana because I'm Chinese and I'm yellow on the outside and white on the inside. I was like, oh, man.
Well, you know, they all do it, though. Hawaii, Howie's.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not just this group. All groups do it to themselves rather than looking at the unity. Right. Is the way I look at it. You know, we're all really unified at some point. Right. When they stop being separate. Yeah. You got to stop being separate and look at what you have together. We're all born from the same place. Pick a religion. Earth to earth, dust to dust, Mother Earth. It's all.
But they sure do like to divide us, don't they?
Well, that's because the power wants to be the power. And how do they stop you?
Yeah.
Divide and conquer.
Yep.
I mean, go back to the art of war.
I believe a lot of what's going on now with,
sugarcane.
Hi guys.
We gotta introduce you when you come in. That's one protocol. Introduce where we're coming in from. I'm gonna switch us over here, by the way, because I think we can get everybody in the field.
You're the pro.
No, I'm not. I'm just on the phone right now, trying to figure out do the best that I can right now with what we got. We're gonna improve our podcast station, but this is a pretty good start for tonight.
So this was so I got the gifted going on here tonight. Just so you understand my flowers, I was gifted, and what you're gift in our culture is a big thing. Right. You gift, Right. And so I was gifted, so I'm showing the appreciation for someone showing that kindness to me. So I got the sparkle, dude. Where's yours at?
I forget. We were in a hairy side.
You're all right. Looking like a fool like this guy.
What's a fool? What's fashion? No, it's fashion. I get hassled in the world because I got facial hair, body hair. I'm the only male in my family. But then on reservation, they look at me. My cousins have, some of them have the hair, because no one's pure blood. There's no such thing as pure blood. No white person is pure white. Does not exist anymore. But,
I want to share something with you guys. That
What's your name?
Okay, yes, guys. So thank you so much for having me
here.
Aloha.
We're talking, it's called H.O.P.E. Maui, so it's the basis of this.
Terrific. I'm Ana Luisa Anjos. I'm an environmentalist and indigenist. I've been having the pleasure, honor to have indigenous friends for the past 30 years. I come from Brazil, but I come for a special mission to burn with consciousness. In this group, I'm very happy to, be on support with all the love of what happened in Maui. But today we had the launch of a video campaign for the Paiute indigenous here.
Oh, cool.
About the lithium companies,
yes.
The mining lithium companies. So we are here to ask all of the burners to sign a petition to kick out these mining companies out of here, because to have fun and play, but to also help and the locals, it's a must. It's
I didn't know you
in my humble way,
that's cool.
It's the only way to learn.
I worked early on with some Paiutes. We were there last night, so that's where I was showing the res. But you're right. I'm glad you're taking it up to people outside.
Yeah.
See it. I worked with uranium early on, and uranium poisoning on reses, because that's the only way they can survive and get care is sell this. The government pushed it. Put the companies in. They're doing the same thing now with lithium. The rare earth minerals are coming off tribal land.
Would you telling about the vision of this indigenous leader? He's a water and a land protector, Josh Dewey. He's coming. He's arriving in a couple of days. He was explaining to me that the Paiute used to be just one people, but they divided them into 17 tribes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's how they keep us from being strong. They divide us.
They call you a tribe and they make you a nation, and that's something people hear nation and they don't understand. So. I'm a member of the Upper Creek by matriarchal in our tribes. So after the Red Stick Wars, they took the 9 clans and they separated the clans apart, so the families couldn't work together anymore in different parts of the country. So I have cousins that are Seminoles under Seminole Nation, and they think they're a tribal group. You're not. The government separated us by pulling the families apart like that purposely. Cherokee. What's a Cherokee anymore? Honestly. It's a new tribe because you've had to make yourself that because you came from all these other places.
Well, there's the Cherokee that went to Oklahoma, and then there's the Eastern Band that hid, and they were criminals on their own land. And still to this day, I can tell you, my mother She does not talk about it. Her sisters don't talk about it. They still have a lot of generational shame from being conquered.
I think that's one of the things people need to talk about more. They don't understand, really. They see cowboys and Indians on movies. You know, there's been a few. But what it really meant, you know, to start out with your clan and your family and that relationship that a lot of other cultures have. You take care of your elders, you take care of your youngers, and how that works to come together now to form your council, to form your own government. So tribal's really one of the early democracies when you look at it that way.
Yeah,
You know, and they've just taken us apart. Now we've been forced to reform these tribal nations.
And there's 49 different tribes in Oklahoma that were marched there.
Yeah. So mine came before she did.
But anyway, just going back to that, the idea is to pressure Deb Harris. What is her name again? That she's in the Congress. You know, we want
Deb
this.
Holland.
Deb Holland signed the petition, and you know, if you can help the, you know, them with their strength and everything, you can go in and donate as well. But for now, we're trying to get people to just sign the petition because what makes such a big difference?
Yeah.
That is a signature, and it doesn't have just to be from burners. That's everybody out
It
there.
doesn't obligate
You know?
anything, right?
So the indigenous from Brazil
Just-
that have gold and even diamonds, you know, I got them to be part of the campaign. So they're going to be saying from Brazil, listen, all the indigenous peoples of the world have been exploited tremendously by this system. And this mining got to stop because we're all dying from it. And we're going to be poisoning this big giant party here. You know?
That's the problem people understand about tribes, I think, is that we are, you know, we're sovereign. So all these environmental laws they can come due on res, they don't care if they poison the soil of people. You know, they don't.
He explained that some of them work for the mining company too. You know,
Yeah.
some of the indigenous because they have no other
got nothing
jobs.
to do.
So it's, you know, so maybe, but if the government comes and the society together with alternatives, there's a way around.
Well,
You know?
this is the thing. You have to show people a win-win. I fought scrap metal yards in Atlanta, Georgia. They were polluting. They were creating the highest levels of lead in the state of Georgia in the Martin Luther King Historic District. And so we had to do petitions and all that, and we were fighting. But I tell you what, the way we won was going to the people, the biggest polluters, and going, "Hey, I know how to make you money by doing the right
Because
thing."
they only understand.
Yeah.
Because that's how you, when you find a win-win, that's when you can make change happen. So what we did, I went to them and I said, "Hey, listen, I know some land, and the West End has access to the freeway. You're not surrounded by a neighborhood. It's cheap.
Yeah.
Buy this land. Move your company here. Then take that land there and develop it.
Oh, cool.
And even buy more land around it and let it be a neighborhood again and develop it. And you will make money on both ends." And when I told him that, that's when the change
Oh,
happened.
that's cool. Yeah, you're right. You get them where they're looking, economics. They're not
Yeah.
looking
It's
at
kinda like
humanity.
appeal to their greed. But and the nice way of saying it is find the win-win.
Yeah, I agree. Because that's the system we're working in. You can try to fight it, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's the system.
Yeah.
You ain't gonna change it, right?
Yeah. So you just got to figure out how to make it work.
Adapt and overcome.
I wanted to share, you know, what's happening too from the sovereignty piece of it in the housing and the current thing on Maui, and we've seen this piece around. Well, a lot of us are feeling a potential land grab with what's going on there. You know, and you have insurance companies that are saying that they're not going to honor the insurance policies for the houses that burn because they're on sovereign land. But these people have been paying insurance companies, and within that same system, yet now it's all of a sudden being considered sovereign land by the insurance companies. And it's like, hold on right here. You can't, you know, eat your cake and eat it too, you know, right? It's just like, this is not Pono. And so all these pieces of how this colonial kind of consciousness and this like consumerism of like the economics and the taking over and the extraction through oppression and depression that's been happening for so long, like how we're again enough already. It's got to stop, and it stops with the people, you know, coming in and recognizing our sovereignty within ourselves and forming alliances and collectives and groups and tribes and nations, yeah, because we all represent nations at this point in our bloodlines. And just having this, I look around and I see uniting nations happening.
That's
right here.
the Rainbow Warriors prophecy.
Yeah.
That's even a better prophecy that is the now. It's all of us getting together, believing on this ancestral knowledge, because what you guys, what the native peoples have, none of the other humans. I mean, I'm suspect because I think that you just take what you need from nature and you learn from it. You learn from the animals. So it's
Could you go into the eagle?
yeah. So what I have learned is about also this prophecy of the condor and the eagle coming together. No, the north and the south. And when I approached the Payus, he said exactly that. He said, "Oh my God, I accept your help because of that." You know that this is exactly what the prophecy is. So we're bringing other indigenous to Burning Man, you know, from Brazil. It didn't happen at the end. It wasn't meant. But Cassandra, by the invitation of also Jonah here, invited the three water and land protectors of the Bayous to come to Burning Man to talk about the future, no? To see how we can come together. And this is exactly this idea, which I believe it fulfills the prophecy of your name and what it is. So it's a beautiful alignment. What we need to look, I think it's alignment. It's look for the truth within, because we have the answer for everything, no? But also the system needs to respect, because this is enough is enough, and we gotta change the status quo. It is political.
New
It's hard.
systems.
It's
I want to bring this in and just checking in. Are you in? I think we're all in. Yeah, yeah, we're all in. I can't see from over here. So is in. So yeah, you have just some moments right now. So I want to just give you the floor.
And here's the powerful woman that made everything possible for the first Playa podcast.
First Playa podcast. Big full heart appreciation.
Cassandra.
Big full heart appreciation.
Angel Mama.
Just calling it in, everybody coming together, everybody being a part of this. There's a big change happening. We all feel it in our bones. There's something happening here that we all know is taking place. I just want to acknowledge every single one of you for coming here and being here and holding the truth in your heart of this new transmutation, transitioning, new paradigm shifting that's happening. There's change that's needed in the world. We all know that there's things happening that we have to make different for our future generations, for our children, for our children's children. And you're holding that in your heart so strongly. It's so important. The work you're all doing is so important. You have a vehicle. You will have a vehicle as long as I'm living, to speak your words, to have your voice for our future generations. Because we are the rainbow warriors coming together to make it happen.
Yes, we're the ones we were waiting for.
Thank you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
As you're sharing this, right, is at 9:00 tonight, we're in that framework of this prayer. And, there's, at the same time, we just entered into this ceremonial, very sacredness of this union, here and into prayer. There's a prayer happening on Maui, with the elders and our community there, and really bringing in those cultural practices, this reverence, what brings us all together, this sacred fire, this water, the sacred waters, this air that we breathe, this ha, and this earth, this aina, this playa, this gaia, this all these elements, and this the spirit of us, and so just to naturally enter into that and being that, literally like God, brought all this, weaving it together, and we're sitting here in perfect timing, in alignment with a prayer that's happening on Maui and anywhere else too. And this is where indigenizing technology, right? We were talking about, to circle back around, what technology allows for us to connect all around the world and seek into prayer, into meditation, into knowing. I wouldn't have known that without that, that message that come through and be able to seek in.
Don't keep an eye on her. She snuck away.
That's literally the only thing I haven't done well for you. I promise. I'm sorry I lost your mom. She's very squirrely. She disappeared.
Right?
So
Santos
true.
lost the mom.
Did.
I'm sorry.
She might
I
be cooking
forgive
dinner
you.
for somebody.
We forgive you.
So close it out.
Yeah.
Close it out.
Yeah. Yeah. You want to close out in prayer, buddy?
You close it.
All right. Yeah. Close it out. Yeah. Yeah. Hands. Yeah. Just like form that circle. Just want to give thanks. Just want to give thanks. Aloha Kekua. I'm giving thanks for all these elements we just brought in, all the directions, all the vibrations. Giving thanks for our ancestors, angels, those archangels, all of our ascended masters. Give thanks to the creepy crawlies, the slithering ones, the four-legged, winged ones. Give thanks to all the creatures of the sea and our oceans. May our waters be clean. May our rivers and streams flow freely. May our lands be recognized as free and available and abundant and prosperous for all people, that we may share and there's enough for everyone to go around. May this air continue to be clean and purified so we may breathe, and may we share our ha with all things living. And may we just come around the fire together as a community with art, culture, celebration, dance, music. May we give thanks to the sun, the moon, the stars, all of our star nations, plant nations, animal nations. Giving thanks for this truth. Giving thanks to all that is. Mahalo Keakua. Namaste.
No.
Oh, I thought you were saying. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all. Yeah, thank you so much. We'll be continuing this podcast series basically at 8:08, 8 a.m. Hawaii Standard Time, which is 11 o'clock Pacific, and then also same time in the PM. And so we'll be holding both Maui and Hawaii and Burning Man and anywhere else to come into this and continue to just be a space of narrative and telling the story and truth of what's happening, so we can keep the vibes positive right now, because there's a lot of misinformation happening, and this is the edutainment that we need. So thank you for this fire, and have a wonderful night. Yeah.
Good night.
Glad I cleaned the trailer today.
Thank you, Sugar.
Set the container.
Clean it up, Sugar Cane, clean it up.
Yeah.
Dang, I didn't think it was going to be that good.
I mean, that was slamming right there.
All right. Denaya.
Thank you.
Yes.
It's the green room kind of things right here, right? Hugs.
How